all of you, I just want to again say I am sorry. I know there are no magic words that I can say to regain your trust, and I know that's going to take time. I'm ready to start that process, and it starts with going back to work today.
That was Senator Al Fraken, the Democratic Senator Al Fraken, just last week, saying that he's going back to work amid allegations of sexual harassment, inappropriate groping, and forcible kissing in the past. Today, there's now a growing list of Democratic senators calling for him to step aside as those allegations grow as well. Let's get back to it. Mike, what just happened today?
I think you saw the women of the Senate take control of the institution. I think the women on the Democratic side of the aisle had decided that, this is not going to be tolerated in our party. And if the men are not going to stand up and say something and do something about it, they're going to. I think that is what prompted then their colleagues, their male colleagues on both sides of the aisle to then get the nerve to actually say the same thing. Look, I think it's both a sad day and a powerful day. On the same day in which, Time Magazine names its Person of the Year, you have
the women who broke the silence.
The women who broke the silence. You have the women of the Senate on the Democratic side taking out one of their own. Previously, the day before, John Conyers steps down from the House after eventually some reluctance, but eventually some pressure from Nancy Pelosi and other folks in the institution. I'd like to see the Republican women do the same thing within their own House, clean that House up as well. Because if they look right down the street and on Pennsylvania Avenue, there might be another person they should be pushing out.
With all of this, I wonder really what changed, because the first allegation to come out against Al Fraken was in November, like November 16th. There was another allegation that came out today. Is that what it was, or is it just?
Yeah, I asked us.
Or is it something? Can I be a little cynical right now? Is it something a little more political that they really wanted to have the moral high ground?
Right. So I asked an aide about this morning, and this aide was telling me that first, the story today was kind of the pinnacle of all of this, right? And that the Democratic women have been meeting for several days now to figure out how to chart a path forward as it pertains to Franken, and so they arrived at this conclusion today. However, I think we have to also talk about the political implications of this. Of course, that Alabama Senate race is next Tuesday. Democrats have been battling this narrative of, okay, we have Roy Moore, but you have Al Franken. Again, the charges are not the same there, which I think is worth pointing out. So I think Democrats are now trying to reclaim this moral high, or trying to claim a moral high ground on this, and it will put some pressure on Republicans to figure out what to do.
It absolutely does. If Roy, this seems to, and maybe that's the point, I don't know, but this seems to help the least Roy Moore. If he now makes it to the Senate, Scott, how does he stay?
Well, what's going to happen to Roy Moore if he makes it to Washington, which I don't believe is a foregone conclusion. God bless anybody trying to pull this race.
You are a man on an island from the people I'm talking to, it seems.
Well, I grant everybody thinks he's going to win, and he might, but I think trying to get a legit sample for a poll in this race is really difficult.
You're totally right.
That having been said, this should be a 25-point Republican win. It's a single-digit race. Maybe Alabama's the only place in America you could survive a candidacy like this. But if he gets to the U.S. Senate, Mitch McConnell's been very clear. The leader says he's going to go to the Senate Ethics Committee and have trouble. And frankly, for the women in Alabama who have accused Roy Moore, this may be the only due process they ever get, and they deserve it. So let's put them all under oath and see what the Ethics Committee comes up with. I think that's how Republicans are going to move forward on Moore if he wins.
Do you think they even, I mean, he's not going to bend to pressure from the Republican senators.
That's right. I think what's the difference between Franken and Moore, Democrats calling on him to resign, Franken succumbed to the pressure. Moore has had to be forcibly removed from a political office twice in his life, so he won't succumb to the same pressure.
Where does this go? Give me your final thought.
Moore doesn't back down. I mean, he keeps swinging. He probably does get elected, as you said, and he will face a difficult time within his own party, and the party's going to have to deal with it. Look, the Democrats got the upper hand here today and yesterday. They pulled a good political maneuver, and they took the high ground.
And this is why the president's endorsement of Moore matters, because
you took exactly the words out of my mouth. No, I'm loving it, because exactly the president's endorsement now becomes so troubling.
Exactly.
Because he not only has allegations against him, we're not going to get into that today, but he endorsed Roy Moore. He's not just saying let Alabama decide. He's saying, I'm telling you who Alabama should decide to send. Okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Thank you all.